Alright everybody, this is the last video, the grand finale of the 2022 karting season, at least for me. This is round 6 of the MCC ProAm karting series, also called KARTOWEEN, out there at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati in Batavia, Ohio. This is a 15-lap final on their national circuit short, I believe is the name of it, something like that. But if you saw my pre-final video coming down around here, the main change to the track is this cut through right here. Typically you would keep going straight through those cones and then make a right down there, and then you would return back this direction, but we just cut it off. So in the pre-final I finished 8th. As I mentioned, there was some not really drama, but nobody could figure out what was going with. We had heard that maybe somebody came in light. But anyways, I was hoping, not that I want someone to get DQ'd, but I wanted to start in the 7th position instead of the 8th because I wanted to be on the inside, but it didn't work out that way, so I am in 8th position coming up. Got a couple Newcastle guys up in front of me. Got my pit teammate there in the 89. That's Otto, and then to the left of me, it's the 13. Went to the Grands with him and his brother, and just a pretty good group of racers out here. Everybody, as I mentioned, 1 through 13, very close lap times on the for the pre-final finishes, and everybody else really not that far behind it. So I'm getting a heck of a push from behind me. So you can see the 17's bumper is all bent in, and we finally, I was off the gas at some of that there, and we take off. So the inside didn't get a huge run on us like they did the first time around, but coming down here, I'm going to go wide because there's action to the left of me, and I kind of get and I could see the cart behind me, and I kind of went off the track, and I didn't really want to go off the track there, but it was either that or get ran into, so I went in the grass. I did stick it out on the outside, much like my buddy in the 441 did in the pre-final. And although I didn't get in front of the 55, it prevented me from having anybody come around me on the outside. So at a midway point of the first lap, I am in 10th position after starting 8th position, and there's 9 guys behind me. So I mentioned this is a 15 lapper. I went out with a little bit less air pressure in my tires. It had definitely gotten just nice and warm. It was right around 70 degrees, short sleeve shirts. It was a fantastic fall day. You can see the colors out there. It makes for good video, I'll say that. But that's it. First lap under the belt right there, and no crashes for me yet. And I lost a couple spots, but my tires are coming up to temperature a little bit, and my grip should be improving just a bit. And I've looked at all the times. I know that my times are pretty comparable to pretty much everybody in front of me for the most time. When everybody would when the fast laps are set, if you look at the history for the pre-final lap times for all of the guys in front of me, if they had that one 2 or 3 tenths faster lap time than me, most of the rest of the lap times were right around what my lap times are anyway. So you might be able to attribute that to someone getting a nice bump down the straightaway, giving them a couple extra tenths and things like that. So I was somewhat optimistic that I could keep up with these guys, although I am getting a little gapped right now. But now right there, this kind of screws us up. It helps, but it screws up. I gain positions on 2 guys, but I do ease off the gas just a teeny bit going through there, and the front pack is really starting to pull away. And unless they encounter some kind of difficulty or something along those lines, they're going to stay in front that far away. The odds of catching back up to at least the top 3 are very minimal now. But I do have 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and I am in 8th right now, right in front of me. So Scott right there, I'm hoping I can catch up with him. He was right in front of me that whole entire pre-final. Almost got him at the end, so I was hoping that I would get the opportunity to get around him. As I mentioned, this is the last race of the season. I'm probably going to put together like a season recap video maybe in a week or two, just kind of go through my cart, show how it held up, talk a little bit about money, expenses, what went wrong, what went right for the season, just because, you know, I've mentioned before, I could decide to, throw my credit cards down and get a nicer cart, get a little bit more, a little better equipment and things like that, but I've made it a kind of a choice or a priority to try to do this as low budget as I can possibly do this, at least for this season. For one, it helps out things with my wife. She doesn't get too fired up about big bills or anything like that, but I still have spent some money, maybe a little more than I actually thought I would. But like I said, I'm going to do a little video on that, kind of talk about that, because again, I know there's probably people watching these videos that go out there and are, might excel at indoor karting or outdoor rental karting, and this might be something you'd want to pursue. So I have started to close up. The 13's closed up on the 4. I'm still kind of just perched right behind him, kind of watching, and I think things go bad right around now. Yeah, I could kind of see that maybe this was going to happen, and it did. I should have, I don't know how I could have really avoided it, even though I thought it was maybe going to happen, but I didn't hit anybody hard. I didn't come to a complete and total utter stop, but as you can see, 2 carts just blew right on past me, and any chance of catching the guys that were in 4th, 5th, and 6th are pretty much gone unless they start running into each other. So the number 99 and the 22 both went past me. Actually, that 22 cart right in front of me, that's the cart I drove last season in the Racing for Vets team. The team captain Reiner's been driving that on and off this season. Been doing pretty good, and he's been pretty fast. So I was, on this track, my cart does halfway decent, and I was able to actually, time-wise, I was just a teeny-weeny bit faster than him in qualifying and things like that. So I was, again, I can see him, and I can see the 99, and I'm hoping maybe I can at least run these guys down. Because I think I am, I'm back in 8th place, because the 2 guys in front of me crashed when I was in 8th, and then 2 more got past me. But I'm going to be pressing hard to try to make this up. And we're probably only hitting, like, I don't know, I haven't been counting the last, but we're probably in the 5 to 6 lap in vicinity right now of this video. And I can tell that I'm closing in a little bit in a few spots on the 22. But one of the things that did start to kind of happen to me is I think I started overdriving a little bit, trying to bite off more than I should each lap, I should have just kind of taken it as it comes, focused on being smooth, but I was trying to dive a little harder into the corners and try to get that, when you can see somebody, when you can see them get closer, like right there, you start doing that a little harder each lap, and then you end up slightly missing your marks, going a little too deep in corners, and your times slow down. Now I have to say they didn't slow down a bunch, but I was able to run in the 59 some of the time, but most of the time while I was trying to pursue the 22, and I totally screwed that up right there. That's the cut through. Don't have much practice on it. I went around there. I had a really good run coming to it, and I was going fast, and I just was like, oh, I'm going to really close up on him, and I drove straight into the grass because I got a little too rambunctious with that. So he stretched it back out on me, and then my buddy in the 318, who you've seen in some other videos, I think in the last video he drove through some mysterious time portal thing out of turn 2 at the OVKA. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch that video. It's a pretty good one. But he comes blazing past me, and again, all of us have had very similar times. Like I said, everybody was pretty quick on this layout. But again, I'm gonna start trying to, I kind of screwed myself up by driving in the grass, so it's a start over type scenario. I've got to start trying to reel both of these guys back in. My cart was handling better that once I made that caster adjustment that I talked about in the pre-final. So as far as the cart handling, I was totally fine with it. I probably could have attempted to maybe take a tooth out on my rear sprocket so that I had a little more top end speed, a little more speed at the end of this straightaway down here. But in reality, I think everybody else was geared very similar to how I was, because once I'd start tacking out, and I would tack out right around here, I can't really hear the audio when I'm doing the voiceover, but I was tacking out well before that control tower. And, you know, maybe if I'd taken a tooth out, I would have been able to try to pass somebody at the end of that long straightaway coming into turn 2. But I'm closing up now. See some a little bit of carnage on the side of the track here and there. I think somebody up in front of me might have had a mechanical, but I'm not 100% sure. And you can see the 318 is he's going hard too, man. He wants to catch the 22 just like I do. I mean, I want to catch both of them, but right now in his immediate focus is the 22. Let's see, kart-wise, you know, the 22 is a Margay Brava. Probably about maybe 3-4 years old, maybe not super old. And I know the 318's driving a Comet Eagle. Maybe 2 years oldish, not too old. And as I mentioned a zillion times in my other videos, I've got an Aero X2. It's probably about 10 years old. I will say, one of my goals is to get through the season without really smashing anything up and having to really replace anything, and I did that. I didn't bend a single tie rod all season. Didn't bend my steering column. Basically, didn't break anything. I got my side pod bent up early on in the season. You probably saw that video, and I was able to bend it back out straight, running the same side pod. I didn't want to mention it too much in other videos because I didn't want to jinx myself. And as you can see, okay, we'll get back to the race. The 318 is getting very close to the 22. And I'm getting close to those two guys now. So, and what's funny is I know that the 22 knew we were back there, but I don't think he knew we were back there as much as we were. 318 tried to swing out and get under him there, but he just didn't quite have a, you know, I'm sure all three of us are hitting our rev limiters right there for quite a while, so we're going as fast as we're going to go. Again, I'm overdriving these. I'm going in those deeper than I want to go in them. And I start, you know, after I drove in the grass, I didn't really come close to doing that again because I learned my lesson early on. To me, it seems like I should be able to go through that dip a little bit faster than I do. I need to commit maybe a little harder to that. It would help if I would one day go out and practice. All of my practice comes on race day, and today we only did one practice. So it's practice straight to qualifying. Now, fortunately, I figured the cut through out pretty well, and as I mentioned before, I qualified 6th out of 19, so not too bad. And I caught up to 318, and dude, I want to give him a bump, but I just ran out of gear. Just got right to it, and did not bump. But again, we're all closed up. I still have hopes. If I get past these two guys, I believe I would be in 9th right now, so I would be in 7th. I would have finished 7th out of 19. I thought I was going to get it there. Boom. We kind of rubbed wheels. I don't know if I thought one of us kind of went up in the air, but when I watched the video, it didn't happen. And when I looked at my card afterwards, I didn't see anything bent, and I basically ran the same times afterwards. I think, you know, this lap right here where we actually contact, I ran like 1 minute 1 second instead of, you know, most of my lap times are right around a minute flat, a little bit over, a little bit under. So I have some in the high 59s, some at a little bit over a minute. And again, that's pretty similar to what everybody else is running, but with all the, you know, the carts bumping into each other and the two carts getting tangled up in front of me. The top 3 carts, they're just gone. And it turned out to be a pretty close battle for the MCC ProAm Series Championships on this. Got the 86 up there, and I believe he was in 2nd place in the 99 who went past me when I got stuck behind the 2 carts that tangled up when the 13 and 4 got together. The 99 got past me, and his day was a little bit bleak at the beginning because he did not qualify well, and he was in the points lead, but it was close. So he was able to, you know, really rebound well in this race right here. Because I think he was, you know, I qualified 6th, and I think he might have qualified 13th or something like that. He was way back in the field, and he made up a decent amount of spots, but he still started maybe 2 or 3 rows behind me, and I started in I started in 8th, so I think he was like, well, he was probably like 10th or 12th. But now I believe he's driving around I'm in 9th, 8th, 7th. He's in 6th place, I believe, right now. But the 86 is up there, and he's probably driving around in 2nd or 3rd place, maybe, at this point. And my pit mate Otto in the 89, he's doing well. You know, I believe he pretty much had a clean race. I don't know if there was anybody banging into anybody up there in front of him or not. And if you want to watch more from this race, the Beyond the Karts has about 4 videos from this weekend out there. They run 2 karts out there, the 23 and the 13, and they've got 360 cams on both of them. So I think we're coming around to the end here. I'm looking at my time, and it's starting to run out. We probably have about 2 laps, maybe 1 lap to go. I almost screw up there and go in the dirt, but I did not. So yeah, this is I think coming up to the white flag right now. But this is it. This is the last race of the season. It comes down to this. I'm hoping I can get up to the 318. I'm gonna give it hell down through here. Spoiler alert, I'm not gonna get it. I'll get a little bit close, but you know, I don't make it. But nonetheless, it was a really fun race. It was a great weekend. As I said, the weather was fantastic. There was a really good turnout. It was fun seeing some guys from Newcastle make it out there. Talk to them a decent amount, because I am going to put some focus on running at Newcastle next season. So those are guys that I will see again. And I saw them at most of them at the Grands and the 2 races that I did do in Newcastle this season. So I've seen them around. So now, you know, when you get to hang out at the races, you get to know everybody a little bit more, and you know, your friend circle widens. So here we're coming to the end, and the 318, I'm running up on him, but I'm not going to get him. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I will have another video out here, maybe in a week or 2, where I recap the season and maybe run through my kart, show what got beat up and what didn't. But I ended up finishing officially 9th of 19, and that is it. Have a good one.